are live on Saturday night, and we hit record without even being reminded.
There we go. Look at us go.
Look at us go. And it's only 7:03. So
Yes, sir.
there is that as well. Now let me just see here. I'm going to
Give me 1 sec. I gotta adjust my headphones.
I'm going to do something because I think this is now how the best way to do this, to follow along on the comments, I think. And we're going to go over
Sometimes, here. Man, just having long, thick hair is so annoying. I love it. I'm so grateful for my long hair, but like, it drives me insane sometimes.
Well, it looks fantastic.
Thank you. I've learned so much patience from having just like growing my hair out. It's crazy.
So here we go. Okay. I think we are not only live, but I think we're also able to follow along the comments in a new way today. We'll see if it actually works.
Nice.
And bring this back here. Let's look over here.
Loading up on my screen here. Oh, I see it now.
And okay. So how's it shaking, Bacon?
It's shaking, man.
Yeah,
it's shaking. It's real cold out here, real chilly.
And your house is
shaking from just freezing. Yeah.
And your door is
chilly. Yeah. Oh yeah, the door's broken. The like hinge is broken on it, so it's just in the wind slamming against the patio.
Good.
Like the outside door, the patio door, whatever you call it, screen door.
And when did it start?
Fun stuff.
Was it last night or today?
Yes, it started like today, like this morning, really.
So will you hear it all night when you go to bed?
Yeah.
Womp womp.
It'll be great.
Goodness.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll get used to it by hour 28.
It is, guess what?
What's up?
It's only 11 months till Christmas.
Oh my God, no way. That's crazy.
Because it's February now. And yeah.
I can't wait.
Already can't wait.
Yeah.
You already have your first adventure of the year planned. Is that correct?
Do I?
Southern adventure?
Southern. Oh, you mean Florida?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're planning to go back to Florida and end of August. Yeah, so we everything. We still got to get our park tickets, but flights are booked and everything. Hotels booked. So
there you go. And when are you going?
End of August. I think like 27th or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Maybe I can't remember. I have to double check.
But sometime in that frame.
Yeah.
Well, that's very exciting. And so now this year, maybe I'll try harder to come and meet you for
yeah.
Although I did try hard last year. I did genuinely try hard last year, but
oh yeah.
I will.
We were close.
Yeah, it was very close. I have a very large dog at my feet tonight, just laying here. And
nice.
Kimmy D is out at ceremony this weekend, and so Liza Lou is with us, and she's just laying here, laying at my feet. And I forgot that when dogs are doing that, they just don't look like they're alive. Like,
yeah.
Like, so I like to rub her belly every once in a while just to make sure that she's still kicking.
Yeah, that's good practice.
But it's February already, and how exciting! Oh, look, she's moving the ring light and stuff with her paws. Okay, it's already February, and it is interesting because on my board of visions and ideas and such, I'm really glad that in the first few days of February, and we're already getting some of these visions we have for the year out into the universe. And but I'll tell you, it's funny because in doing that this week and in having some good conversations around what that could look like for the year, and working with some partners and clients to flesh out what some stuff could look like, how that I've talked the last couple of weeks about just the pressure and the stress and the overwhelming feelings and how that's just reduced and reduced, right? That getting stuff off my desk, getting it done, having conversations, realizing that these ideas we have are good. Because I spent several weeks telling myself these are horrible, like these are bad ideas, no one will like them. Like, and so it feels really good to be able to be in this space now where it does look different, right? So it is yeah, so I'm really grateful for that. I want to give a shout out. Corey says good evening. Hey Corey. And David says looking good, folks. David, you have to know it's the filter on Zoom, because I didn't shave today, which I normally shave before the show, but I'm realizing the filter actually just makes it look like there's nothing there. So
Yeah, I got the baby face filter on like Snapchat.
Yeah, of course.
It takes away 90% of my blemishes. You can't tell, but
so David, if you haven't clicked the Zoom filter button, you may want to. We're excited to have David join us in a little bit, and David Forteau is going to join us this evening. February is Black History Month, and I believe it's actually both in the States and in Canada.
I think so, yeah. It's on Disney Plus.
Is it? Yeah. So it is I think there's a line that I've heard a number of people say it over time, and most recently today I saw a video of on TikTok, and it was the message basically saying like Black history is, and they said American, but Black history is Canadian history, and it is such a significant reminder that this country that's called Canada was, as First Peoples, as First Nations folks, we talk about all the time about the effects of colonization and et cetera, and et cetera, being like destruction and genocide, just for the record. But the reality,
not to push that off to the side at all.
Yeah, exactly. So when we talk about those things, it's sometimes we have to be mindful of the fact that our Black relations have experienced the same effects of colonization and genocide, and both in Canada and the US have experienced a level of discrimination that isn't from the past, right? And Canadians seem to talk about it in the lens of, well, we didn't have slavery, so blah, blah, blah. But I think there's actually some mistruths to that. And throughout the month, maybe we'll explore it on this show, is that there was slavery in this country. And one of the pieces is that it's important to recognize all of those components, right? All of the discrimination, the racism, the violence, and not just physical violence, but the violence that's in legislation that affects certainly our peoples, but also our Black relations. The violence and the systemic stuff that has never shifted because the intention has always been the same. That said, as First Nations people, we also need to be building our knowledge, right? We tell people regularly, listen, learn, right? Listen, learn, read, do it yourself. Don't ask Indigenous people to guide you on this process alone, right? Like for them to do the work, the heavy lifting, and that you can benefit. Well, the same applies to us when it comes to our Black relations. We need to be listening. We need to be learning. We need to be building our knowledge and understanding. We need to understand that historical piece, just like we are asking others to know it about us, right? And so I'm really sort of happy that we have a platform where we can talk about these things, because at the end of the day, they're uncomfortable conversations at times, right?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this, like, I remember last year on the show a little bit, but just like how I'm constantly, especially around this time of year, how I'm constantly reminded about like just how much we're not taught in school. And I mean, like, I'm always like, like you said a little bit, like always pushing people to like learn about our culture and our history and the wrongdoings. But like, I also have to do the double, like I have to see the double standard. I have to myself do that. Like, there's so much more than just our people's history as well that is included in that, like, Canadian American history, and along with our African brothers and sisters, and they were also such a big part of our communities here, and that story is not really told and shared a lot. And so like I definitely, it's just, I'm always constantly reminded of how much I have to learn, and how much I also want to learn. It's like again, like just for me personally, like speaking of Halifax, like the story of Africville, and like just the significance around that. And there's a lot of really cool projects coming out of there, a lot of really cool people. um our friend Alfred Bergenson, so did I
Yeah.
say his last name right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like there's this, yeah, there's so much that I'm reminded about, um like this time of year in Black History Month, that I should be reminded about throughout the year. It's just
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
And the other message piece is that it's so funny to me because we have these months, right? Black History Month now, June, Indigenous History Month. Let's be very clear though, like every month is like there's a reason there's not White History Month, right? Because it's just ever present.
Yeah.
And so, and that message is directly to you on Twitter, who's like, why don't we have White History Month? Oh, hope you heard that.
The entire curricula is white history.
I hope you heard that douchebag at douchebaggery.com. I don't know if that's their actual Twitter feed, but it's but the reality is that it doesn't need to be limited to a month. And even ourselves, to be frank, like we've got a committed strategy through February to, on this show and just in our work in general, showcase and spotlight our Black relations and build our knowledge personally. And so at the end of the day, the reality is the reality is that it has to happen all year round, right? And whether it's for Indigenous history or Black history or insert any of the other narratives, right? We can't limit ourselves to, okay, it's February, let's talk about this. And then in March, not talk about it. It's like Bell Let's Talk Day. Like, well, no, like it's good to talk about it on the 25th or whatever day that is, but let's talk about it on February 14th and February 27th, March 32nd. Well, I guess there is no 32nd, but of March. But if there was.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that all said and done. I'm excited to have David join us, partly because, and well, maybe we'll wait a second until he gets here. We'll share that part. But I do know that I want to provide a little update that one of the things this week, there's like a clicking. Do you hear that clicking?
From my side?
I don't know. No, maybe not. I don't know. Either way, I have because I've talked the last couple of weeks. We've been talking about mental health and stuff, and just that struggle. And I'm feeling 1,000 times better. I am really grateful. It's funny, you just think about. There was a night a week ago or so that when I was going to bed, I normally say thank you before I go to bed. Probably like 4 to 7 days, I think about it before I fall asleep. The other 3 days, I literally just fall asleep, like watching TV, whatever, in bed, reading, whatever.
Nice.
So I say thank you and leave it there. And this one night I was laying there, and it was probably earlier in the week, and I was like, I went to say thank you, and I was like, for what? And then I'm like, okay, get grateful, be grateful. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna do this? What are you gonna? And I'm like, okay, what are you grateful for? And then I was like, I couldn't think of anything immediately. And normally when I do a gratitude list, I can do it in like 17 seconds. So even right here, the fact that I'm sitting here with Brennan, the fact that my buddy David's joining us, the fact that I got cuddles and snuggles with Everett today and obviously saw the others as well, but got some Everett snuggles. Celebrate Aaliyah, because Aaliyah brought Ojibwe to her school where she's studying Ojibwe now. And
what? That's sick.
And she did 2 days this week. She had Ojibwe words of the day, which she did on the announcements at school. Like, that's cool. Just magic, right? So I got to celebrate her and honor her a little bit. And then what else did I do? I got to have breakfast with a friend. I walked and got all my steps in, even outside, even in negative like 35, because I was already dressed to go out for breakfast. So I'm like, well, I might as well get exercise. And if I'm not mistaken, I got all my calories. I got all my steps. Oh, yeah, I did. Just over, but did it. So all these things to be grateful for, right? That night I wasn't feeling it, but today I am. And today I'm feeling a lot better. And the reason I feel a lot better is that for the last 2 weeks, we sat and we talked about these things. And I just want to point out to the world just how significant it is just to talk about it, right? And I didn't talk about it like and I did the things that I needed to do.
Mm-hmm. But we also talked about that too. Like we talked about that part about doing the work and how much, like how hard it is to do that work and how important it is to do that work when it is hard. Right?
Totally. So I just want to share with anyone who's watching tonight, if you are struggling with anything at all, ever with something, make sure that you just talk. Like it's literally magic medicine. So yeah. And so thank you for sharing that you're losing your mind about the slamming door. And if I can make a suggestion, you said you used fishing line to try to keep it closed.
Yeah.
Maybe find something thicker than fishing line.
I can't. That's the problem. There's nowhere else to tie onto the door. There's like a little tiny hole in the thing. And like, there's nowhere else to.
And the door.
Unless I screw onto it.
And is the door?
There's no handle or anything. It's just like a.
Is there another exit?
Like a pan.
Is there another exit for the door other than that from the house, like in case of an emergency?
Yeah, there's 4 doors.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah.
My name's Brennan.
Yeah, like there's like the.
I live in a house with 4 doors. My name's Brennan. I'm 4-door Brennan. Okay, they're bougie.
There's a front and the back, and then the front on the extension and the
side. They're bougie boy.
Yeah.
So then here's my other suggestion: get something heavy. Go in the front door and put it there in front of the door so it doesn't bang, right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah.
Yes,
everyone gets home and stuff.
There's my other suggestion.
Also, I'm gonna have to do that. That's a good idea. I'll do that, and then I'll just text Caitlin and them that there's a big, giant, massive thing blocking the door.
Yeah, and to use one of the other many doors that you all have.
Yeah. Bougie. Use the other front door.
I think when Snotty Nose Rez Kids wrote that song, they were thinking of you guys with your 4 doors.
I don't know what song you're talking about. I honestly have not really listened to any of their songs, to be honest with you.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I know they're fire. Like I'm not saying they're bad or nothing. I know they're good. I just don't listen to them.
Well, let's just see without getting ourselves screwed here.
So they were in Halifax recently, I'm pretty sure.
Stuck on you from the boonies, not the type you see in movies. Felt the spirit living through me since I was a puny dookie.
All right, before we get shut out by Facebook, want to give a shout. Yeah, so that's
cool sound.
That it is a great sound. And hello, Miss Lana, who has joined us as well. And anyways, I think we should get our pal David here. He's probably much more entertaining than we are. And I'm very excited to have him join us. He probably didn't know that he was going to join such a bougie native with 4 doors in his house. 4-door goo-goo.
Yeah. There's that rapper 2 Chainz, right? They call me 4-door.
Now,
like a caravan.
Now you play video games like an addict, right? Correct.
Oh yeah.
So I went on to
and like an addict too. Like yeah.
Oh yeah. Totally. I went on. I don't know if David is able to hear us or see us yet. Oh, we lost David. We lost him.
He DC'd.
He'll be back. But I went on David's YouTube channel today, and lo and behold, I believe it's videos of him playing video games. Again, still don't understand this as a concept in the world on why I want to watch videos of someone playing video games, but I know that people do. But yeah. So
what's his name?
David. Oh, it's just David Forteau, like his yeah. So we will see if he is able to ding back in.
I've seen like the vlogs and stuff. Yeah. I gotta find this. I gotta ask him if he has a Twitch, if he streams.
Okay, here we'll try again here. Oh,
while he's loading up, how did you guys meet anyway?
Well, we met originally in Toronto, and we'll have to confirm. Oh, look at that. He has returned.
I have returned.
You have returned.
I'm here.
David, how are you doing, my friend?
Good, good. How you guys doing?
Very well. Thank you for asking. You should know that you're in the company of greatness because tonight we've learned that Brennan, by the way, this is my friend David. David, this is my very good friend Brennan. Brennan
What's up,
is,
Great to meet you.
much bougier than we knew.
Oh, nice.
Because Brennan was showing off, he was pointing out that he has 4 doors to his house. So we've decided he's now 4 doors Goo Goo is going to be his new name.
Nice. 4 doors Goo Goo.
4S, it's like them white people. The fancy. No getting stuck in our house.
Take a look at that, white neighbors down the road. I've got
Yeah, that's funny because we're actually on the like one of the borders, right next to the retirement home.
So
Take that, yeah, folks.
Just for context, Brennan is in Millbrook First Nation, Nova Scotia, and David is in his, I believe. Now, is it a loft that you live in? Is that what would be the appropriate terminology?
Yeah, it's a loft.
Loft in Toronto, and
yeah.
And is that a garage door behind it? Like, is it like, does it open up?
No, dude, those are just my windows.
Just windows?
Like, yeah.
Man, that must be awesome in the morning.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's just I used to live in another loft, a lot smaller, but it was south facing. So in the morning it was like just beam. It was just like infinite light. But this time I'm on the north, so it's not as bright in the day. So give and take. It's pretty nice though.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, now I could be, but I believe this to be a fair assessment. Whenever I've Zoomed with you and you're in your place there, I think to myself, like, this is the Toronto dream that so many people have. Like, when they're coming to Toronto or growing up and they're going to move out, this is the vision, like, of what they like it really
yes.
is.
No, you're saying truth, Peter, because like straight up, like. Yeah. I dreamt so much about like moving from Millbrook and like going to Toronto or New York and like living in a big loft or having a place with big windows and like watching shows on Netflix, you know, like David's got those big rooms.
I could tell you that it definitely is the dream, but when you get here 4 doors Goo Goo, it's different. It's not as sunshine and rainbows as it seems, because being in the city, especially downtown, there's lots of kinds of pests. There's a lot of outside drama that you can hear from these fancy big windows all hours of the night. You got garbage trucks, you got semi trucks, you got people angry in the morning, rush hour. I'm a part of it all. I'm a part of all the conversations.
Nice.
Without even wanting to be a part of it, but
you feed off that energy though. Do you love it? You like love it?
I do love it. Yeah, I do love it. It's great. It's great.
Nice.
I use it as a creative space too. So I'm often not alone. It's either me and my partner and a client or a friend that we're doing some photos for or working on a project. So it's pretty lively. And I like that about a space like this. But if I was in like a smaller, like little condo and like the place where people actually end up when they move here, it's sometimes it feels a little bit too coffiny.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't love that.
Well, I just want to quickly say, Tracy says it's my dream. I think applying where you're living. Carol Rogers, who is one of our dear friends and loves Brennan inside and out. She says we only have 3 doors, Brennan.
Oh.
And David, and do you remember Tracy, David?
I do.
Yes, there you go. And Sheldon says, okay, let me just put this in context. So I went to your YouTube channel today, David, and I forget that you are inherently, and I don't mean this in a mean way at all, because we're in the presence of a mega nerd. And again, I don't understand this concept. You might see behind Brennan his array of, they're not toys, they are collectibles.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's some Barbie there. I don't know. Is that Barbie behind you?
No, it's Ken.
Oh, Ken. Sorry. So, anyways,
No.
I go to your YouTube channel today, which hasn't been very active until I find most recently the videos are videos of you playing video games. And I've had this conversation on this show lots over the last 3 years.
Found it.
Why the hell do people watch other people play video games? I cannot comprehend it. But there it is. There's you with swords, and it's it is.
Peter, I gotta say something too. That's just not any video game. That's Dark Souls. He's a hardcore gamer.
Hardcore, yeah.
I don't even play Dark Souls, man. I can't.
No?
I can't push myself to that.
Let me tell you though. There's a new version of that. It's called Elden Ring, and it's a little bit more accessible. A little more accessible to everyone, and it's fun. But to address the YouTube thing, I actually have been getting more in touch with my nerdy self, Peter. You're right, and it's just so easy. Like I'm playing a game, and then I like a certain part of the game. I just click record, and then sometimes I end up sharing it. But it's all from my device. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to move. I don't have to get my phone. I don't have to bring no other tools necessary. It's just the controller, press record, and it uploads straight to YouTube. So sometimes I forget that it's up there.
Oh yeah, I would do that.
Well,
Let's
I
say.
just want to quickly say, Tracy says, in my dream, I think implying where you're living. Carol says, Carol Rogers, who is.
Are you like on the controller, just pressing record?
There we go. Sorry.
Yeah, there's like a share button, and then you just go like share to YouTube or whatever, or you can just send pictures to Twitter. But I don't necessarily want my YouTube to be filled with that. I want to make another channel that's specifically for gaming, so I don't run into this. I don't run into this again.
I don't understand. I don't think the world is just that the two of you have women in your lives and I'm single. I just don't think this is a fair. Like there is no justice in the land at all. But Sheldon says people that watch other people play video games grew up with friends that only had one controller.
It's true.
It is true. That is true. Wow, that is true.
That's funny.
Oh goodness.
Also for me too, I was always just my older cousin was always better at the games. Anytime I got stuck, I just hand it to him, and then usually I'd get at the intro, and then I wasn't
all
good
right.
enough to play off.
I want to just Lana says two things. First of all, a shout out to David. She says, and it's great to see you. She says, I still remember when Matthew Callahan, her son Matthew, her Matthew was right into your clothing line. Yes, David came to Kingston. So David, you had a clothing line, Nozo. Nozo. And so a number of years ago, he came to Kingston and brought a bunch of his gear with him and gave it out to kids. And so these kids, you saw them wear it for like the next 24 months. And like it was always crisp and clean. They never got like, it was very impressive.
He took care of that, yeah.
I want to come back. That's a great story about David, but let's come back to Peter for a second. So Lana says, Peter, you technically have 5 doors. And that is probably true. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, no, maybe 4. Wait. Oh, well, I guess if you count the garage door, the big one, but 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's definitely a door.
Either way, though,
it's called the door.
The reality is, I already know I'm bougie, so I celebrate it more. And,
bro, I remember when I first went to your house, bro. I was like, man, this is a mansion. This is huge. You can walk around. This is crazy.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is a mansion. There's no doubt about it. And exactly where Native people are supposed to live, right here in the House of Dysfunction. Tina says, hey, doesn't Jack know David too? Yeah, Jack does. Jack Toner. Yeah, I think Jack Toner. Yeah, and Mariah as well. And so anyways, David's YouTube does have these video gaming things on them, but I do want to just share, because part of today is really, I want to, and we'll come back in a second and just listen in for a moment, and we'll have a conversation with David about the path you've taken, if that's all right. But I remember meeting David. Brennan asked when we met, and it was in the 2000s somewhere. It was like, would have it been, because you would have been about 18, like somewhere between like 17 and 19 in that range. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, somewhere
like 2000 and like 2006, 2007.
Yeah, like something of that nature. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I found like this, and this would have been, so this is, I found this today. Let me just find this. This was a project that we worked on together years ago. Now this is from 2009, and here is let's see here. There is, where are we here?
Purple shirt.
There we go, right there.
And that. Oh my God.
Twisted Swagger grew from the collaboration of two great minds, the artist David Collar and the businessman David Forteau. Always had their individual style, their own swagger to stand out from the rest. So nonetheless, there's David there in 2009. So that's 14 years ago. So 21-ish, right? Give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now this, Dave and Dave, there we go. Yeah. So there it is, Dave Forteau. Oh, born in 87. Oh, you just had your birthday. I knew that. And
you knew that.
I knew that. And so this is from 2009. Now, this newsletter or magazine, this came out probably 2 to 3 years after the project started. So
yeah, it did. So that started in 2005.
So it was probably 20, 2000. How do you even use those numbers anymore? 2006. 2006, probably in that range. And when I met David, I will never forget him coming into these spaces and owning them. Like, it was just, and these other young folks were conflicted because some of the young folks we were working with were, they had a lot more, not more, maybe more, no, it's not the right word, but their history with Peace was a gun and gang prevention program, intervention program, relationship building program. It was a bunch of different things. And some of the young men had a lot of challenges in their path to where they were there. And I watched as David walked into this space and as we'll hear, had his own challenges to get to that space in life. But these young folks were just taken by David in a heartbeat. And David is the reason that over time, I began to really understand and learn about the significance of hip hop culture and the deeper context of that culture. And it probably would have been you and Rebel, who lots of our friends know. And what's Rebel's real name? Joseph, because Joseph has traveled all over through First Nations throughout this country and has had built really great relationships with folks in delivering programming in First Nations and with First Nations. But Rebel and David exposed certainly me to this understanding of the depth of hip hop culture beyond music, which is what I probably presumed it was, right? And introduced it to graffiti, to advocacy, to dance, right? And I'm missing one too, am I not?
Spoken word,
poetry, yeah. And so, but dance, and so I remember watching and seeing David dance, and I hope you don't mind, but it's on YouTube, so I'm going to share it regardless. This is how I remember David was being exposed to watching someone who was both an artist and an athlete and blew my mind. And he would walk into a space and his charm and charisma and just the way you are, your being, like, and I saw it again when we were fast forward then, whatever that is, 18 years or something, fast forward. And we saw it again this summer. We were really thrilled and privileged to have David join our team with as a consultant this year, and watching him again in those spaces and just own the roots. And the exact same thing: charm, care, humor, insight, creativity combined. So that's how I met David, was seeing all those things all those years ago and seeing them now strengthened even more. But this is how I remember David. And this is not embarrassing. I don't think this is embarrassing. Well, I guess we'll find out in a moment. But but this is so this is just I think it's your own compilation from World of Dance.
Oh
And
yeah, cool.
and so this, and I work hard at not asking David to dance. I want to be clear, because David is a brilliant dancer, but you're also so much beyond that and more than that. And that has always been my like reminder, right? That, and it's kind of like Andrew. I was talking to Andrew today about a project, and that project, if it happens, it would have him doing a number of concerts, right? And I said to him, but the thing is that the concerts are good, pal, but that's not why I want you here. I want you here for the front end when we're building relationships with young people, because you're masterful at it. And the same thing is true.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for you to dance at every event we ever did, because I watch and we saw that room get electrified when you danced. And then in the skill you have, step back and everyone else danced, right? And it was amazing to watch. You just opened a door that allowed people to walk through. And Andrew does that same thing. And so I want to point out that the dancing, you are beyond incredible, but it is only a component of your incredibleness. So I just put that out there.
Thanks.
You're a great dancer because you're incredible, is what he's saying.
There you go. See, this is why, Brennan, this is why I need folks like Brennan. I just took my 7 minutes and narrowed it down. So here we go.
That's cool.
But I do love the sound of my own voice, so it's all right. Just very quickly, Alana says Matthew still wears the camouflage jacket he bought from your line back then. You inspired him to want to look good then. And
wow.
time of Y2K, a project here in Kingston, the kids all loved him because of the amazing young man he is. Yeah, but he's not young anymore, so let's just be clear about that. But yeah, we are clear. that was a decade ago. But here we go. This, my friends, is just a snapshot of our friend David. And again, and leave your camera on, David, because I do want to watch your response to this.
All right. Oh my gosh. My knees.
I don't think that's David.
That's definitely not. But my knees. I was going so hard.
All right, where do we go here? There you are. So, Brendan, that is just a taste of David's capacity. And in fairness, because it is, you are an athlete. Is that not a fair statement?
Yeah, I'd say that.
You say athlete?
I'd own that, yeah.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Oh, dancers are insanely athletic.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, I'm just curious, how did you start getting involved in dance?
Ooh, long and the short. Well, here, I'll give you so I think we're gonna talk probably more in depth about like my past and where kind of got me to want to make a change in my life. But I guess I could start from the change, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So, I was going through a rough time in my life. After making some changes, I wanted to switch things around and be a better contributing member of society, but I didn't really have anything I was passionate about, if I'm being honest with you guys and the viewers here. Nothing really struck me as something I want to do for the rest of my life. After high school, I was just aimlessly lost, didn't really have a motivation or a passion yet. So, but I did know that I loved music. I'd always be that guy that have earphones, the wired ones, of course, earphones in my ear. On the bus, I'd be with friends. I'd even be with a girl, and I have my earphones and I'm listening to music. It'd be on like 10% volume though, but I'd be always listening to music, trying to memorize lyrics, trying to just know all the songs inside and out in case an opportunity arises where I could lip sync or something. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but that was my whole life was wrapped around music. And you know, I did try to sing a bit. I tried to rap. I tried to play guitar. All these different types of creative outlets that were around music, but it never really stuck, and it wasn't really for me because I was terrible. Okay, so just being real, right? So I would also frequent the mall. I was a mall rat, so I'd go to the mall and I would hang out on Friday night, Saturday night, just like tonight. I'd be there all the way until the mall closes, and there's so much to do with the mall, but people don't know. They just go and shop, right? But there's other things you could do. So I would be there and I'd be hanging out with friends. We'd be like we'd be going to like the different areas and the pockets of the mall where people would hang out. And I'd always see the same group of people walking into this corner in the mall. And I was so curious. So one day I decided to get the courage to go in there. And I knew there was some kind of facility in there that had people doing some interesting things. So I walked in there, just busted the door down, was like, hey, what's going on in here? And I seen a lot of desks. There was computers, there was printers. People were building resumes from scratch. They were being mentored on even if it was like math tutoring or other different things. There was a community center that was focused on helping enrich young people's lives. And I saw there was a dance floor and there was mirrors, and there was a couple of b-boys in there and b-girls that were dancing. And I seen the guy spin on his head, and I was like, holy, like that's something that I wish I could do. Like I really thought that was cool, because in high school I took ballet in grade 10. I had to, as a class, and I didn't really love it, but I did it. I passed that class, which is nice. But I was like, I'm never gonna dance. I'm not gonna do ballet. I wasn't exposed to much other dance. But when I saw that guy spinning on his head, it literally put me in a trance. And like most things in life, nothing's free. So when I asked the guy if he could teach me, I had very low expectations. But right away, the minute I could finish my sentence was the minute he said, "Yeah, I can teach you whatever you want." And I was blown away at the fact that someone would just take it upon themselves to teach me, mentor me. It wasn't there was no fee attached to it. There was no I didn't have to contribute anything. I didn't have to join some secret cult or none of that. So yeah, after that day, I kind of never looked back. I started learning from them. I went to other community centers after that, and I was just like, I fell in love with dance, especially breakdancing. That was like the apex of dance for me. It was like the hardest stuff, and I wanted to just challenge myself, right? I wanted a really big change in my life, and that took a lot of time. I danced probably like 3-4 days out of the week, and then eventually, as I got a little bit better, I also at the same time started working at an organization that allowed me to work with young people, and I eventually met Peter through there. And I was probably only 2 years into my dancing career, like learning how to be good, but I applied everything right away, and it was yeah, it's kind of what binded me to this new path I was on.
And that place in the mall, was that Tropicana?
Tropicana, SYRC, exactly that place. Yeah.
As you described it, I was thinking about. I was like, I think I know where that is.
Yeah, that's totally the first spot that I actually learned how to dance, and it translates. Everything translates too, because I didn't have I worked at a McDonald's in high school, right? And then after that, I didn't really have another way to get a job. I was thinking about where to go, and and as I started dancing, I started wanting to invest in things, buy some new shoes, buy some clothes, and be like a regular person again. So I said, I want to get a job. And then the guys that were teaching me how to dance, they all worked at the same place at Hollister at the mall. They had this sweet overnight job where they hired all the b-boys, and then they just put in a good word for me. And then I got a job right away. I didn't have to do an interview. I just got in there, and I'm working at Eden Center, downtown Toronto. And I'm from Scarborough, in the east side, in a little bit of an at-risk area. But I would take the bus for an hour, and I'd drive I'd get all the way downtown. And it was surreal for me to be downtown in the big city, dancing with my friends on breaks, coffee breaks, literally, and folding clothes overnight at Hollister, the whitest store ever, right? But there's a bunch of hood hip hop kids in there just folding clothes, listening to beats. It was like the most. It was like being in the army for me. It was like training. We were like training for something, and yeah, I think that was like my humble beginnings.
Can I ask you a question? You said something interesting that I think, if I heard it correctly. So you grew up in Scarborough, but going downtown Toronto, even though it's only two subway rides away,
yes,
2 subway rides, that was still a big deal to you to go downtown.
Oh, 100%. I would tell you, from where I grew up in a place called Flemington Park, and that's one of the 13 at-risk areas in Toronto. And for us, going to Scarborough Town Center was a bit of a journey, but it felt more familiar, felt more at home. There was a lot more people that looked like me, talk like me, act like me. So it just felt more natural. But going downtown, we always had this, maybe it was a stigma or maybe it was just miscommunication, but a lot of people would always be like, "Yeah, don't go downtown. There's only like a bunch of like rich white guys and crackheads there." Like that was like the terminology that was said to me as a young kid. And it stuck with me. And I never really, none of my friends wanted to go downtown. Nobody wanted to it's like going to the mall is like kind of pointless because all the shops are expensive, stuff like that. And yeah, so I never really went downtown until I got that job, to be honest. And I haven't even seen the Eden Center until I was like 18. Can you believe it? So
and I think for a
That's
lot
cool.
of people outside of Toronto, they just can't understand that. And I think that there's a significant part of it, which is also about the effects of Black young people in these other neighborhoods, right? Who,
yes.
much like, and the parallels so often between Black young people and First Nations or Indigenous young people are so similar so often, because it's similar. From what I have certainly learned over the years is that, so you grew up in Flemington, and you don't leave Flemington. Kids don't leave the neighborhood. And in fact, there's a program we work with right now. One of their activities is getting kids on the subway and going out of the community, out of Scarborough. And it's much like kids on the reserve. That idea of leaving the reserve just doesn't even, because they often don't see others doing it, right? They don't see others doing it. The family often doesn't want you to leave because of safety, right? They want you to be safe.
Yeah.
So you stay in your community, you stay in this, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, outside of the fact that I think so often young people are being prevented from seeing what the world has to offer, even if that world is what you just described at the Eaton Center in this very different experience. I don't know.
No, I definitely agree. I hear you because especially in some of the at-risk areas and some of the, even in rural, even in other cities far out of the city, I've noticed that when you put together a certain set of buildings and you build it in a way, it almost feels like it's not a gated community, it's like the opposite, but it's set up in a way where people don't leave. It's hard to get out. There's like one road in, one road out. Sometimes taxis don't even drive you home if you say you live there. They drop you on the outskirts because they're afraid for their lives. And things like that are very, very common where I'm from and how I grew up. It's just they would make these high rises like 30 floor buildings with like 14 units in each floor, and there's a huge influx of people, and maybe there's like 2 or 3 schools that are in the surrounding areas that are predominantly like at-risk youth type schools. And then I would walk to my school, take 8 minutes, and I'd walk home, and then I'd go to my little McDonald's job, which is like another walk in the same complex. And then I never really have a reason to go anywhere, but then it also doesn't get me to open my eyes and see anything that the city or other place have to offer. So I agree. It's set up in that way where it seems like you can just go, man. But to be honest, I never had that inclining where I could just snap into and say, let's go. Yeah. So
and that's why we do these events in particular. We use Ottawa quite frequently, but it's why we do that is because we want young people to have the opportunity to see that the world is beyond their postal code, that the world is beyond their community. And there's nothing wrong with folks who stay in their community for their lives, right? And they work in their community, they have a family in their community, and that generation continues. But I want young people, this is my take, to be able to just know that there's these other spaces and places where they can have experiences. And you did that. And so now you're working overnight in the Eaton Center, dancing on breaks, the whitest store ever. And when did you realize that dance was going to be able to become a part of your career path, do you figure?
Well, actually, that's a really good question. And I have a great answer for that now that I'm actually thinking back on this, because I usually have a kind of a spiel, like my story is my story. But thinking back and really reflecting, which you've taught me a lot of over the years, is I think the switch in my mind that triggered to let me know that this was a viable option, and not because I thought I was really talented, but because I knew that my place in the city and the community was larger than my skill output. Like even if I stopped getting better in 2009, I could still be a contributing member in the society and in the culture. And that's something that I've always wanted, because when I was a kid and I was mixed up with the wrong crowd, I just wanted to belong. I wanted to participate. I wanted to be friends. I wanted to have things that were not just for me, it was for others. So when that started to come true in dance, and I realized that I have a say, I can talk to different people in the community. I can reach out to other communities of dancers and bring them into the city and I kind of connect and collaborate. I said, okay, that's like one step towards the right path. But my other step was at the same time working at the Students Commission and doing the project piece, and affecting these young people every day after day after day. I'd go in there and I'd give them the kind of topic we're supposed to talk about, but then I would also dance and also showcase my talent. And they were so accepting of that. And I realized I'm doing what I love, just dancing, but I'm also very passionate about helping educate youth and make sure they don't follow the same path that I went through when I was a younger person. And seeing those two worlds collide so beautifully, I was like, this is it. Like, this is where I want to be for the rest of my life. And I think that was the number one sign to say, you got to stay and do this as hard as you can. And and then for me, I didn't give up on my dreams as becoming a world-class dancer. I just felt like I'm better suited to run a business that can help other dancers all over the world have a hub to come and learn from and dance and educate while I still trained. I never gave up. I still dance every day, but I wanted to have something tangible where other people can join in and be a part of something bigger than just me, right? So I opened a dance studio to go along with what I was doing with Peter and everybody else on these projects. I opened a dance studio, and that was for the community, for the city, for up and coming dancers, for people to learn how to teach, educate others, and then for people from all over the world to fly in and share what they know to people in our city. And that was that was the kind of like the bridge that brought everything together.
That's mind blowing. How often do you get people outside of Canada coming in to share? Like, do you bring people in, or do you just invite people, or do you just get people to discover you?
Yeah, I've so the studio opened in 2013. It opened, and I had it. Well, actually, it opened in 2011. I had one unit, and it was pretty big, but we outgrew the business in 2 years. So then 2015, I opened another studio, and then that one closed in 2018 because we were right downtown, right where I wanted to be, right in the heart of the city, paying the most money you could think about for a facility. And
I don't even want to ask.
Yeah. And then the competition got fierce. There's people that wanted to open up studios. So I just became an advisor, and I helped other people who grew up under my wing. I helped them open their studio spaces. And now there's like multiple different places, and I just kind of like help out, but I don't run the studio anymore. Just to be super clear. But when I was running it, I would say it's the golden years of dancing on TV and the golden years of like celebrities and artists that would do lots of big world tours. So for example, 2 examples, I know Peter's going to say it if I don't. Number one being when the Jabberwockies and all the bigger dancers from America's Best Dance Crew or Canada's Got Talent, America's Got Talent, when they were doing their thing, winning awards and becoming champions, I had contacts with some of them because I'm a dancer and I have friends, right?
That's insane.
So I reached out and I got people's rates, and I asked them, like, how much would you actually like to get paid if you got flown to Canada, stayed in a hotel, and danced with a bunch of people that really want to learn from you? Like, what's your rate? And then they would always be really reasonable with me because it was their first time in Canada for the most part. Most people, they've only stayed in their area, whether they're famous or not. They're like, I'm from Houston. I stay in Houston. I'm like, okay, well, I'll fly you to Toronto, right? So that happened I would do it at least once a month, at least.
Holy man.
And then for tours, it's not up to me, it's up to this artist. So I've had people like Justin Bieber practice his whole like routine for his show in my studio. And then, from him to like TLC to like the Chris Browns to like whoever was in town and they needed a space to rehearse, it was kind of common practice for them to come to my studio because it was downtown. It had 2 doors, 2 entrances and exits, so it's a little bit safer. And because of downtown, there's lots of
luxury.
2 doors.
Lesson today: get them doors.
Get them doors. Exactly. So yeah, that was kind of like how it went through.
That's so cool, man. Like, do you think Wow, yeah, I don't even. That's so cool. Like how did you manage not your expectations, but like just like because you talked about like wanting to be like a world class dancer and stuff. Like how do you I don't know, how did you just manage like being around that with those like expectations that you had for yourself? And then but also like okay, but like I'm here and these people are like coming to me, like I'm in this world with
Yeah.
these people. Like
No, that's a really good question. I think the lessons that I learned, I definitely sometimes didn't manage it as great as I thought I did because um you know, like you said, there's world class dancers coming into the city and people are like adore them. There's lineups of people they just want to autograph. They just sometimes people didn't even take the dance class. They just came and they paid a certain small fee to take a picture with the art with the person. And I was like, whoa, like that's like this is a whole different league, right? Whereas I can go down to Dundas Square and just dance on the street with my buddy and get a couple of dollars thrown in a hat for me. Like it's a very different
that's cool.
metric, right? Different metric. So it was for me, at the beginning, it was a little bit tough to be like, okay, like I thought I was good, like what's going on? But I think as I matured more into myself and really started to know myself and be self-aware, I realized that if I can be myself around someone who's world famous and has really honed their craft and someone who's starting out, and I can kind of act the same around both of them, whatever whatever those people take from me and my energy is good enough. And 9 times out of 10, those people would feel so comfortable with me, even if they're like mega stars, that they would do stuff that they don't normally do around regular people because they feel like they're more open and they can relax. Like sometimes there's guys who they would charge. I'll give you an example. Like there's a couple, they're called Keone and Mari, and they don't do weddings. They don't do any kind of like just like regular shows. They do stuff for like high level creative events, or they work with like celebrities, or they choreograph for music videos or whatever. But I asked them, I'm say, hey, I have a buddy who's getting married and he wants to get married in like in America. They're offering me like $8,000 for you guys to just come and dance for 2 minutes, And he said no. He's like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, really? Like, I would do that every day. And he said, but he educated me. He didn't just tell me, no, get out of here. He like broke it down for me. He said, oh, this is my brand. This is what I'm trying to achieve in my life. And I'm looking for longevity, and I want to build something where it's not just about saying yes to every job and doing this and doing that. And then it really spoke to me like, okay, like I don't have to say yes to everything just because it's coming my way. I can kind of build and carve out my dream career by staying true to myself, right? And that's what he did, and I respected that so much, right? But at the same time, he came to my studio, just him, and he was like, well, like since I'm here anyway, do you want to just dance? And then me and him just danced for 3 hours together, and he would normally charge people for that, right? But because me and him were just on a friend tip, it just became like an exchange. And sometimes it's just about being able to identify like what people really want, what they want to do when the doors are closed, right? And I guess so for me, it's to be able to understand that it's not a competition with everyone else and I'm always trying to be number one. It's a competition with myself. And how do I want to feel at the end of the day? That I do my best? Am I trying my hardest? And am I happy with where I'm at? Right?
Can I just interrupt for a second? There's two things I want to say.
Sure.
That last bit is exactly why I was thrilled. I've been thrilled in the past to work with you, and why I'm thrilled you joined our team last year. Because that's it in a nutshell. That's you. And the word I was looking for earlier, what I didn't realize as you described your ability to engage with a newcomer versus a pro or whatever it might be, is authentic. Mm-hmm. Is that you are your authentic self. And that is the magic of David Forteau, is that you are authentic. And even like I'm watching, I can't help but notice you've got this stunning pearl necklace on. And here's a fun fact. I would love to rock a pearl necklace. I've thought of it multiple times.
You don't think you could?
Not even close. Really? Like it just.
I think you could, 100%.
Oh no, I honestly have envisioned it. I try, and it just doesn't. And again, part of it is being okay with it, right? Like,
true. Like you got to wear the clothes.
Totally. And you this is the authentic David, like from like, and that's what you see in the way you deliver whatever it is that you're delivering. And I'm going to share just another video with some folks here for a second. And if you can think, Charlotte asks a great question. How did members of your family and friends from your past react to your success? So maybe think about that while we watch this, because the path forward for David, you've been like, the word influencer gets used all over the place. And sometimes it drives me bonkers because I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus. But that said, the reason that I value and I would call you an influencer is that influencing simply on using this brand or wearing this or doing this is one thing. You actually are influencing folks in a fundamentally different way around about how they can actually live their life. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily if you buy these jeans or wear these jeans, your life will change. Because that's bullshit. Your life won't change if you wear those jeans. And when you look at influencers in the marketplace now, that's what they're doing. If you wear this, you buy this, you go here, your life will change. Well, it's just lies. It's just not true. Influencers who, like yourself, are saying if you take these things and do these things, and it's why it matters and it's why it's important, and these are the steps, your life, you do the work and your life will change. And so I came across another video, and it was, and again, it's a big deal. Like, I want to be very clear, it is a big deal. Where did it go? So last year you partnered with DHL, the delivery company, correct?
Yes.
And there is a terrific video of you talking about this competition they held last year. And so do you mind if I play that video? I think it's just fantastic.
For sure.
Yeah, like, and this is the path of where you've gotten to now as an influencer, where companies are bringing you in to help guide them, I assume, but also be able to promote the work that they're wanting to achieve, correct?
Correct.
And again, picking and choosing what you do is significant. We say no for every 10 offers, we say no to 7 probably as a rule, because it just doesn't fit what we want to be doing or how we want to be doing it. And sometimes, because we're humans, we get greedy and we say yes. And then 9 out of 10 of those times, it's a mess. And I hate it. And I suffer through it. And here's the secret. Not once is the payoff, financially speaking, made it better. Like,
fair.
It just doesn't. But this is David, this is now really what you do today, a lot more than before, right? Like this kind of work, like partnering with brands to help lift them up. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, totally fair.
Okay, so here we go. OMG. I have too many screens. 1 second. Here we go. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this, and OMG. Here we go. Okay.
Nice.
My name is David Forteau, and I am a brand strategist. And currently, I'm helping brands create a strategy that takes them from inception to execution. Branding is super important because of the way that our culture presents it in everything that we do. Branding is everywhere. If your brand is complicated, intricate, and beautiful, but it doesn't tell the right story or a story in general, it's hard for an audience member to connect. It's always fun when they come with something new that's different. Even it excites me, it gets me fired up to help them unfold their story and build on what they have already brought to the table. Small businesses are super important. They're the glue for the city and for the community. DHL Discovery Group Next is going to be a game changer. Between the $10,000 in mentorship expertise and $10,000 in international shipping, this is going to give you the tools to set you up for success. Let's make this year your year of growth. With DHL mentorship, me and other small business experts want to help you discover your next.
I want to just zoom back to this little clip here. This just sort of made me, when I watched it, I just thought this was interesting. So I think this is an interesting image. Like, I really do. I think this is, there is, so, now I happened just to get it on a very good clip of you there. That was just fluke, by the way.
They all look so happy.
Nice.
But it is an interesting sort of narrative of where and how you are positioned, right? And so for folks at home who don't know, what exactly would you describe your job as today? Or jobs?
Well, I would say I'm still very deeply rooted in the community, like hip hop community. So what that entails now is I'm working a lot with artists, musicians, and performers to ensure that they deliver like a impactful message in their music, but also when they deliver on stage. So anything, basically, I always say I help when the music's done. So when they've created the sound that they're trying to go with, I'll take it and get creative with it. So I'll either help do music video, photos, artwork, stuff like that. So when I'm in the music space, I'm definitely a hands-on creative type person. And that same creative skill translates to other brands. So like the DHL brand, they want to get more exposure and kind of help people that are on the small business side of things, get them more used to, shipping out international goods and getting more in tune with being like a bigger company, as we see in other countries where some of these fashion brands are really booming. They're trying to put a light on the Canada. So yeah, so I helped them with their creative as well. And that was just a giveaway. So we were actually giving away like it was like $20,000 worth of stuff to the winners. And they actually gave two people won instead of just the one, because it was going really, really well. So that was great. And yeah, so I'm mostly in the creative side of things for a lot of my work today, whether that be music videos, photos, or brand stuff. And then my personal life is influencing. So the same kind of thing that Peter was talking about, where I'm not just saying wear these jeans and you're going to look amazing. It's more around like, this is my way of life, and these are the things that I believe in, and these are things that help me on my day to day, and I think it would actually help you, whether that be diet stuff, whether that be like just nutritional things or clothing. Yeah, that's like my main life. And then for fun hobbies, I'm still dancing, and I am still hanging out with a lot of people in the fashion world. So it's very still much the same as when I was younger. I've just kind of refined everything and really like fine-tuned where I want to sit and where my time goes. Yeah.
Awesome.
How do you manage such a big plate like that?
Jeez.
That's a lot of hats.
It is and it isn't. It is a lot of hats because I had to basically learn how each hat fits on my head before saying, yes, I can wear this hat today. Right. And I think that's the lesson there was before, when I had the dance studio and I was doing the clothing line, we were talking about Nozo a bit earlier, I was very much so saying yes to a lot of things and helping a lot of people at the same time as trying to be my authentic self, dance a lot, travel a lot, perform, do a lot of speaking engagements, help on these projects with youth. And it was a lot to handle, but at the same time, I was really training myself. All the things that I was taking on my plate, I was really training to be as good as I can and as efficient as I can, so that when now, flash forward to today, I'm able to say, okay, I can do 20 music videos in 6 months, but I'm probably only going to do one role for 10 of them. And the other 10, I'm going to pass off to my team, but I'm also going to like make sure that I like give them the clear direction so they know what they're doing and there's not any guesswork. So that's an example of like how I would manage something when it comes to the music side of things. Instead of me just doing everything for everyone, I kind of delegate and help put other people in positions. Because I think I learned that from the dance studio. There was kids who would get turned, they were literally super talented individuals and they had really good choreography. They were intricate, they were smart, they were intelligent, and they also could, they could also like articulate how they want to teach, but all the studios in the city were turning them away say, hey, you're too young to teach, or you haven't taken my class 100 times, so why should I let you teach at my studio? So there was no opportunity there. So for me, it was all about opportunity. So I always saw that as a gap in the market, but also a kind of a crappy thing for people that are talented that want to make something of themselves. They had no opportunity. So that was my kind of my thing that I tried to impart, was like, I want to help give opportunity to people. So I do that even till this day. And that I have a part of. Sorry, go ahead.
So is that like a byproduct of all your work, or is that kind of like kind of always been part of the big picture? Now I asked that because if we rewind a little bit, you said we were listening to music all the time. You're kind of listening with intention, like just always. So I feel like I'm going to assume that you carry those, like you carry that with you throughout your life, and you live with a lot of intention. That's why I asked, like, is that intentionally always been like part of, like, are you always thinking of the big picture and like how you can kind of domino effect everything into like just all these different avenues, or does it just kind of come naturally and you just let it flow?
No, you got it. I think there's definitely, I won't lie, there's definitely a large part of it being intentional, like from the music side of things, learning about stuff. And then let's say, for example, where the fork in the road is it for me? Am I going to pursue that and become an artist? Like when I was 18 and didn't have a passion, am I going to try to be a musician? And then if it doesn't work, just give up on music? It was like, that was one fork. And I decided I'm not good at that, but I can dance and I can still stay in tune with the culture and provide for people in that sense. But then I still like music. But when another fork in the road came in, where artists asking me for advice, hey, this is my new song, I really want your feedback. I know you're a music guy, you have a good ear, you have this and you have that. And they genuinely ask my opinion. I would take the time, sit down, listen to the song, give them feedback, tell them how I can help them. And that's when I said, oh, this fork actually brings me right back to my younger days. So what you're saying is it is kind of like helping me domino it, but I've always kept and carried those values so that when the opportunity does arrive, I can actually execute it and not have to like backpedal and say, hey, let me just go ask someone else and then come back as middleman. Like I want to be able to do it myself, right?
So because you like carry those values and stuff, you kind of like, when those opportunities arise, you were able to take advantage of them.
Exactly.
And Charlotte asks, when you're sad, do you dance?
You know what? I do. Sometimes I'm sad or I'm upset or I got some news that I can't do anything about, but I just want to like let out how I'm feeling. I definitely dance. I definitely maybe sometimes it's not like it used to be always the first thing I would do, but maybe sometimes it's like the second thing, or something I'm thinking about for a bit, or I have to like just listen to music and sit there in silence or something like that. But 9 times out of 10, I'll end up dancing at some point in the 24 hours.
And do you ever use it like do you use it like a tool? Like if you like, do you ever like force yourself to dance? Like, like this is gonna help me. Like I gotta move a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, what you're talking about is medicine, right? Dance, and that creative piece is medicine. That's what you are, and it's medicine that we like. When you have something of that nature, you get, it's really for yourself, but eventually it goes out to others, right? You share that medicine, like you're good medicine, like, and that's significant to understand, is that when you're dancing, it brings joy, right? And joy, I assume to you, and I know, and I see your face when you're dancing. Actually, I've watched you for years, and you can see the joy, you can feel the joy, and that joy is medicine. And then that medicine gets spread around. And just for folks who, just in context, so in the summer, we did an event, and I don't know what and how it played itself out, because again, I never want to take a look at our consultants or team members who have this gift and focus on that gift, right? Because the gift is, as amazing as it isn't, and although it plays a significant part in their identity, it's not who they are. And it's not why they're at the table with us. That it might be an asset, but it's not why they're there. I.e., you joined us because again, as I said, you create authentic, like that's as I figure it out, right? Authentic. And Tracy says, just in context, I just want to be you when I grow up. Like, and that's that medicine that you carry that comes out in the dance, and that joy. And when we talk about things like Black History Month, and Annie's joined us, our dear friend Annie, and she says dance is good medicine. I agree with you, Peter. And you look at, and again, at First Nation culture and the dance and Inuit culture and Métis culture, one of the things that when I think about the last couple of years, which have been incredibly challenging for our peoples, and the reality is that the number of people who have danced, right? Danced for those children, for their spirits to come home, danced for the healing, for the survivors, dancing for their families, their communities. Like when you're dancing, it's medicine and it's joy. It's taking those challenging times and making joy. And when we think about Black History Month, one of the realities is that there's two ways I think you can look at Black History Month as someone who's not Black. One is deep dives into the atrocities and violence and discrimination and racism of the past. And those are all important to build people's knowledge of. But as I keep listening and reading this year, what I've been reading more about is this need in Black History Month for other relations to be looking at and understanding Black joy. And the idea of Black History Month in my mind this year isn't just about, I want to learn more about the past and significant people and individuals and events here in this, what's now called Canada, what's in the States, but also I want to be really having conversations like this with young, and you're not so young anymore, I want to be very clear, you're now old, but the folks who are creating these paths of medicine, right? Whatever that might look like. And I think that is essential. That said, we have to make time to learn about the past while celebrating and recognizing the contributions people are making to this world. And you are making so many contributions. Brendan, what do I love?
TikTok.
I love TikTok. And so, just so you know, David, we have a little slew of TikTok videos we share each time. And our friends at home, my suggestion to you today is very genuinely I got annoyed with TikTok, and I think I stopped watching TikTok and realized eventually that it was when they moved them from 1 minute and started increasing the video times, right? That's when I kind of lost. I don't want to watch a 4-minute video as a rule. Like I just don't. like now it's a TED Talk.
No.
It's now
and they don't show you the time, do they?
No, they don't show.
No,
Yeah.
it's like a little meter, yeah.
So you're just but
Real
that's
slick.
There's only a couple of videos tonight, and they're longer than I normally like, but they are incredibly, I thought they were really kind of cool because again, learning things about things I didn't know. And so if you'll indulge us, we'll play these videos and then we'll come back and just have a quick conversation about your take on how we can be lifting up others across the country and maybe building those relationships between Lana says sorry Peter, he's still much younger than both of us. I'm aware of that. That's why I said he wasn't young anymore. It was more about me, Lana, than it was him. And someone's asked about that same question about how your friends and family feel about your success, so we want to answer that question too. But first, here is a compilation of some cool narratives. I think, at least, again, it's only my take. If they're not cool, well, tough luck.
Okay, it's our show.
It's okay, it's our show. Yeah, Brendan's right. So here we go. Where are we? It's very interesting today. Today I'm having a...
You guys still have like a bunch of wind and everything from the storm?
Today, I think it's got nicer. Well, it's still cold, yeah, but tomorrow's supposed to be 3 degrees. It was when I went for my walk today, it was about -40. Yeah, totally. Hold on a sec here. Let's find it. There we go. Let's try it now. There we go. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful world of TikTok. And away we go.
You so black. When you smile, the stars come out. You so black. When you born, the God come out. Black is not. Black when it's wrong and black when it's right. Black is pyramids and mathematics. Black is melanized in magic. Black is televised and in need of drastic black advancement. Black enhances, black with chances, black with privilege, black with pride, black on purpose on the black hand side. Black and beautiful, black and blessed and highly favored. Praise the Lord, black and blessed. Black and so much more, black and nothing less. Black and educated, black is brilliance. Black is strong, black is resilience, black is song, black is infinite, like hip-hop or space. Black is grace, black is love, black makes babies, black babies grow up, black is...
Amelia Earhart.
She flies airplanes?
She does fly airplanes? What's her name? I can't remember.
She's what she got on. She had pilot clothes.
Pilot clothes, yeah. What's her name?
What's this power?
Oh, is it Bessie?
Yes!
Okay.
Bessie Coleman.
Thank you. Good thing. Let's see. Oh, I don't know who that is.
Bill Honey.
Who is it?
Bill Honey.
What did she do?
She took a song. You never heard this one?
Let me see.
My favorite king.
Who is it?
My favorite king.
Oh, that's right. He had some kind of speech, didn't he?
He said, I got a dream.
What did he say?
I got a dream.
And what was his dream about? Was it like monsters or something?
Be nice to each other.
Be nice to each other. Okay. Let me see.
I thought Barack Obama.
Who is it?
Barack Obama. Who is this?
Oh, he was the first black
president.
That's right.
Who's this?
It's Barack Obama. Yes.
Good job.
Thank you. Yep.
This is Michelle Obama.
Who is it?
This is Michelle Obama.
Oh, of course, the first black first lady.
This is her.
Yes, of course.
This is her.
Love her. Yes.
This is Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama. Yes.
This is Michelle Obama. Do you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I hear you. Michelle Obama.
Thank you, everyone. You know this.
Yes, we know this. Who's the next one?
Yes. she's a good dancer. Who is this?
Who is it?
She's a ballerina. Who is this?
Oh.
She's a ballerina.
I can't remember. What's her name? Oh, Misty?
Yeah, Misty. Misty Copeland.
Misty Copeland, that's right.
Yes, I do know.
Yeah, that's Michael Jordan.
No.
Oh. Is it Kobe Bryant?
No.
Oh. Who is it? Oh.
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson, that's right. What did he do?
He played baseball.
Oh, Matthew?
Yeah.
Matthew Henson.
Yes, where'd you go to?
Was he a swimmer?
No.
Oh. Was he in Congress?
No.
I forgot. What did he do?
He went to the pole.
He went where?
Go to the North Pole.
That's right. He explored the Arctic. Oh, I learned so much. Thank you.
Look, everyone.
Happy Black History Month.
Do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Let's do some.
You want your posts fluffed or should we just buy new ones?
You know what? I'll leave it up to you, dude.
Okay, coming up.
He's killing it.
Wait, what's that been doing?
It's Black History Month.
I'm happy for you, but that doesn't answer my question.
Well, during Black History Month, every black person gets an ally. And since there's a shortage of allies, we're all just going to use an ally.
How do you do it?
So he just does everything you tell him to do for a whole month?
Yeah. And he talks to the cops for us, he applies for loans, and explains cultural references we don't really get.
Yeah, did you know Friends and Seinfeld are just shows about white people hanging out in New York, like not doing shit? How many shows like that do we need?
This is Black History Month, right? Well, we're going to celebrate Black Death History too. You see this guy here? See this guy? His name is Andrew Foster. He himself was deaf. Andrew Foster was born in 1925 in Inslee, Alabama. At the age of 11, he became sick with spinal meningitis. Because of this, he became deaf. He became the first Black African-American student to receive a bachelor and a master's degree at Gallaudet University. Andrew Foster was also known as the father of the deaf because of his work. He founded a school for the deaf in Africa and went on to open up 31 more schools for the deaf. In the 1900s, education for Black deaf was very limited. He went to Alabama School for the Colored Deaf in Alligator, Alabama, and then moved to Flint, Michigan. There he received his high school diploma at the age of 26. After graduating, he went on to apply at Gallaudet University, but they rejected him because of race. We all know what that means. But Andrew Foster said, y'all not gonna reject me. I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna continue applying. Gallaudet University eventually accepted him as a student. As I stated earlier, he went on to get his bachelor and master's degree at Gallaudet, and he became the first Black deaf to receive a bachelor and a master's degree at Gallaudet University. Andrew Foster was like, I gotta keep going. He traveled around the world, he did missionary work, he did many things for the deaf, and his legacy continued on because of his wonderful work. But anyway, he was married to a deaf woman and they went on to have 5 children. He was on his way to Kenya in Africa, but unfortunately, he passed away in a plane crash. After his death, his legacy continued on all over the world, all over Africa, all over Gallaudet University. And this really encouraged a lot of Black deaf African Americans to continue on. This also let them know that no matter what your skin color, do not allow your skin color stop you from doing whatever it is that you need to do. Love y'all.
I had never once heard of him in my life. And again, I think if there's any benefit of months, because it sort of drives me nuts a little bit, like Black History Month, Indigenous History Month, like I think it just puts stuff in a little constraint, right? Like I understand why they exist. I do get it. But sometimes it annoys me because again, I know that the reality, like this week on social media, I didn't realize how many people use Canva until this week, like the design app, because the number of Canva posts I saw from big brands to small brands to organizations, right, about celebrating Black History Month. And I didn't want for 3 things to be doing that thing, right, where you put a post out and then that's that. And so one of the things that we did this week was I've been learning about Black history here in Kingston, because I think that matters to where I live, right? Simon is taking part in an event on Thursday to build his knowledge, so that the more we know, right, the better we're going to be at our jobs, the better and richer our lives are going to be. And so that is sort of the thinking around it. from our take this month. But part of it is making sure, and hopefully someone reminds me in May, if we're not posting stuff still, that it wasn't just 30 days. But the beauty is that we do get this opportunity to meet and listen to folks. And Charlotte's comments, right? Your soul and passion, David, are every color. You care so much, and I'm so proud and happy to have met you tonight. You're such a blessing to so many. And that is such a true statement. And it's kind of how we want to sort of practice this month, is by lifting up our relations and building our knowledge, right? But here's the secret: we're not going to ask you to teach us, much like you won't ask us to teach about us, right? And the world is a challenging, hard, and crappy place, and it's unjust, right? Again, going back to the fact that the two of you have dates and play video games internet, and I don't. So there's injustice everywhere.
Everywhere.
And just for the record, we're not comparing that to all these other things. It was just a joke. That said, I say that so that people watch this after, they're not filling the comments. But the reality is that there is all of that, but there's all of this great beauty and good medicine, and that's folks like yourself. What message would you have for young people, and particularly young Black people, around the path that they could take, or what's achievable for them?
I think some advice and that I've been given, things that I've seen, just the amalgamation of all the things I've done in my life. I think the main kind of takeaway that I like to leave people with is that there isn't really a ceiling on things that you enjoy. Like if your hobby or your passion has to do with a creative outlet, or if it's something to do with like literature, or maybe you're really into math, or whatever the case may be, there's so much room for people to find their tribe wherever they are in the world. And because we're so connected now, and there's so many things that allow us all to not just be where we live, it's all online and everything too. I think it's really important to just see what's out there and not limit yourself to what you have in your 4 walls, or 5 walls, 5 doors, 3 doors. Just really embrace the fact that if you feel strongly about something and you have passion, that's special and that deserves nurturing. Yeah.
Amen. There you go. And Charlotte says, I think Charlotte wants to have a date. When are you coming to Kingston? This 82-year-old would love to have you come. You don't have to dance, but just sit in my living room and chat. And your mom can come. Says your mom can come too.
Nice.
For those who don't know, if you check out the chat, David's answered several questions in the chat as well, so we thank you for that. This is the beauty, I guess, of having someone who's social media aware and an expert, because most of our guests haven't been able to manage taking part, and not just our guests, us either.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't do that either, but I don't think we've ever had anyone type in the chat.
Exactly.
I'm gonna show you guys the setup. So initially, when I logged in, I was trying to organize my camera, because what I used to do on Zoom when we were going through the whole Zoom world 2019, I was always hooking up my camera. So that's like the setup that I would have used today.
Setup.
Yeah, but then I ended up just going with my phone to see you guys and talk with my earphones. But then I also have my laptop here. Yeah. So I'm enjoying the live couple seconds behind our chat, and yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phone and laptop.
There you go. But you're not using the camera today.
Not using it today. No. I'm gonna probably film a dance video after.
Do you find a difference with the camera with the Zoom, or no?
Huge difference. Yeah. Yeah. Like there's a Hey, one sec. I'll show you guys.
What do you use for sound when you're using the camera? Do you have a microphone on top, like a boom mic?
Well, no,
Shotgun
like
mic.
if it's for Zoom specifically, like if I'm using I have two cameras. With my Canon camera, it's the easiest one that would work for sure. I just didn't want to risk it tonight with the battery life. But basically, like you just plug in to your Zoom, and the Zoom camera option is your camera now instead of your computer or whatever. But then your audio, you can set it to whatever you want. It could be your phone, it could be your phone's audio, it could be your earphone audio, whatever you want. So it's two separate things. Yeah, and it worked well. It worked really well.
Our original vision in April of 2020 was that. And then
let's do it.
And never got there. And I've been quite happy overall with this little Logi one. I don't know if that's how you say it, but the little app.
I got a Razer webcam here.
Yeah.
Logitech. Yeah, you got the.
So it's and partly because again, when I relocated and moved to Barbados, right, it was easier, but the vision was to have like these multiple. I had a vision of like multiple cameras, and because they were selling all this stuff at the time, right, like switchers and stuff. And then I'm like, Peter,
yeah, the boards, yeah.
Be honest with who you are. You'll never any of that. Just be honest.
Yeah,
you'll buy it. You'll sit downstairs.
Sit there.
You'll just Lana says tonight's show has been wonderful. You're good medicine wherever you go, Peter, Brett, and David. The three of you make this world much more beautiful just for being you. Thank you. Sending love and hugs to everyone. And as we get ready to wrap up today, David, I think it's like 97% of our consultants have worked for us more than once. Is it fair to say that should we find an opportunity, you'll join us again this year?
Very fair. I will be there.
Excellent.
Be there, ready to go. Yep.
Excellent. We generally close with some final thoughts and invite folks just to sort of share in general. Brennan, do you want to start? Any sort of final thoughts on this evening and on our various conversations? You go first.
Just one big takeaway from this. Sorry.
You go first.
I go what? I'm gonna start telling my friends to call me that in 4 doors. That's my Indian name. My ceremony name is 4 doors. They call me 4 doors. 1 door for each direction.
Hey.
No, yeah, just a big thing I really want to take away from this, and I hope everyone listening takes away is just to live with intention, and like even just like the little things and just doing things you enjoy, and it doesn't have to be strenuous or taxing, but just to live with intention and just always have that in the back of your mind, just how just live with intent. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And it allows for a lot of beautiful things down the road, and doesn't only provide opportunities but provides the tools to take advantage of those opportunities. So thank you so much, David, for joining us tonight. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you.
And Annie, our dear friend Annie, says that equipment is nice. I'm not that good with computers, but Annie, I want to tell you, Annie joined us in 2020 to help us out as a consultant. Her and Robert, they were elders for a project we were doing. And if I remember correctly, Annie, you mastered it. They had 2 different devices, and I'm not going to tell any secrets, but Annie and is similar age of our other friends here, Charlotte. So Annie mastered it, and they had 2 devices going, and it was awesome. So Annie, I think you're much better with computers than you think you are. So I just want to point that out. But any last words you've got, David?
Yeah, for sure. I think I love the intent thing though, Brendan. For sure. I was gonna say that's awesome, and I'm happy that we got a chance to be on together. And yeah, I think some thoughts I have is it's funny because it's in the name, but now that I've been having this opportunity to reflect, I feel like always having not always three exactly, but just the idea of 3 things being involved in my life and anyone's life. I feel like there's a certain type of like freeing feeling from that. I'm not trapped to like one area of life. I can do different things. I can dabble, and I love the idea of just be open to bringing in other things into your world, because it might not be 100% effort from you all the time, but the more things you're involved in, the more collaborations and the more opportunities you have to share and work with other people. So I like having at least 3 things in my life. Yeah,
love it.
Great
pun, top tier.
Yeah, brilliant. Both of you brilliant. Intention does matter, and intention matters in how we live our lives, right? And from being on the subway or the bus as a kid, David with his headphones in at 10%, listening to music, being intentional around listening, so learn the lyrics, to be able to the intention allows us as well to get to the place where you realized you were really bad at things like rapping or singing or music, whatever that might have been, right? And knowing as well, right, what we're not good at and being okay with it. Like, it's okay that we're not great at everything. And in fact, that we might even be bad at stuff. And those same things you described are things when I was a kid, I wanted to be a rock star, and I thought I was going to be. And I've bought multiple guitars in my life and gave them away because I never could play them and they hurt my fingers and so anyways, intention matters in how we live our life with each other. Intention matters in how we do the work that we do. And that's what we say, right? When we're designing our programs, it's always about what's the intention. It's why we long ago stopped talking about icebreakers and don't use that language anymore, because we want to build community, right? And the activities might be icebreakers to someone else or a game, but for us, it's about opening doors to building relationships. It is intention in how we engage with one another, the people we love, the people we care about, the people we don't know, like being intentional matters. And those 3 things that you're talking about, having those different pots, right? I'm going to go back and listen back to the quote that you talked about, the hats, right? Figuring out what hat fits. And because that line you said, even though I don't remember it word for word currently, but that's just me in general. Twice I've forgotten Brennan's name tonight, so it just happened. But but that said, the reality is that there are a bunch of pools in the world, and we don't have to be attached to one thing. We can have different interests and different skill sets, and it is just so important that we allow ourselves to have experiences. It's why we do the kind of work we do and the way we do it, is we want people to have those different opportunities to see what's available in the world. And that's what I think, and the last thought I think about Black History Month this year, is that's what we want to show. We want to be able to demonstrate to folks what's available, to like that the stories and the narratives of our Black relations, although anchored in all of that ugliness of the development of this country and the development of and just the systems that still today plague our Black relations, is that there is all of this beauty that's driven by intention, that's driven by those folks who have had to do that grinding here, A, B, C, and D, to find the things that are going to help them fly. And your efforts in your career, David, have helped people find those places that they can fly. And that matters, and you matter. What you're doing is important, you're important, and you certainly belong. And you belong here in our circle and have for years. And I'm really grateful and blessed that we've got to be able to work together and travel together and spend time with young people together. I am thrilled we had folks join us tonight. And I look at that chat, 59 comments, and there'll be more after this as well. And it just speaks to the fact that our community matters here. And it's a wonderful way to kick off the month and have conversations with folks who are doing amazing things. And yeah, my spirit is totally lifted. So I want to thank you both. And Brennan, as always, Brennan Forteau, Goo Goo. The reality is my life is better because you're in it. And I am super excited for this year to come, and he'll glad to be able to chat with all of you. Seriously, thank you. Seriously, thank you. Chi Miigwech, and chi, remember, means big, so it's big thank you. The biggest thank you to you all. Until next week, we will see you soon. Simon's been doing a great job getting some guests. Oh, and we're gonna
shout out Simon.
Yeah, shout out to Simon, who's been getting some great guests. We're gonna have some friends from the center to prevent. Oh shoot, and the name is again. See, same thing. We're going to talk about human trafficking this month. We're going to have some other cool guests. We're going to wrap up tonight's show though with a video, one short little video. Oh goodness. From, let me see here. Oh, here we go. We're going to finish up a video with our very dear friend, and we're going to play it again next week too, just for the record. But we're going to close our show tonight with a video from our dear friend, Cindy Blackstock, who is going to share some words about Have a Heart Day and invite all of us to be involved in something that is so significant and matters so much, and to lift up the voices of children and youth in this country. So we're going to wrap up our show with Cindy's great words, and yeah, so until next week, my friends, we will see you. We'll see you there, and we'll close with Cindy's thoughts.
Thanks everyone with this.
Mama P.
Hello, everybody, and come walk with us. This is Cindy Blackstock, and this is Spirit Bear and our reconciliation dog, Sunny, coming to you from unceded and unsurrendered Algonquin territory here in Ottawa. We are all members of the Caring Society's team, and we are part of Have a Heart Day. Now, Have a Heart Day actually was started by children and young people who saw the inequalities that were being argued in front of the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal for First Nations kids, and wanted to be a part of having their voices heard by people in the government of Canada to say, it's really unfair that First Nations kids get sometimes no water, they get less funding for their families to get through hard times, they get less money for education, they get less money for health services, and the list goes on. Then other kids, despite them having faced all of the trauma from residential schools. So children of all diversities stood outside of Parliament. They wrote letters to the officials and they read them out loud so that the officials could hear them firsthand. We celebrate and honor Have a Heart Day every year, since that time, because those inequalities continue to exist. There are solutions on the books to fix them. So send your letter in to your elected official and make sure they know that you care and that you expect them to address these inequalities today, not 5 years from now, because children only get one childhood. Thank you for everything you do.
And we'll put a link on our website and or on our Facebook page where you can learn more and how you can take part and Have a Heart Day. Until next week, friends, Bama P.